I promised you guys that when we won this series, I'd remain calm. Please tell me there isn't a but after that, because I was really looking forward to some peace and quiet.
Yeah, no, I can sense a massive but coming.
But, oh dear God, here it comes. Let's go!
Well, that was a little bit more of a subdued reaction, and even though the intensity was there, the volume may not have been there. It kind of goes without saying that this is a very exciting day. Vegas Golden Knights win Game 5 of their first round series over the Winnipeg Jets by a score of 4-1. Consequently, that was also the score of the series, as with this win, the Golden Knights advanced to the second round, winning their series 4-1. Funny how that works. So talking about the storylines coming into this game, there were actually a couple of them concerning both teams for the first time this series. Obviously, there was the noticeable absence on the Winnipeg side of Josh Morrissey and now Mark Scheifele, who must have done something really bad to his wrist to keep him out of an elimination game in Game 4 when he took that shot in Winnipeg and then immediately went down the tunnel, holding his wrist.
Uh-oh, locker room.
And on the Vegas side of the ice, for the first time this series, there actually was some lineup changes. Braden McNabb clearly was dealing with something. It looked like he aggravated something in his hand or in his back during Game 4. It looked like he'd been lingering with since Game 2 and will miss this series. He'll be replaced by Ben Hutton in the lineup, and, that's not a huge deal.
I mean, he was only second in the NHL in shot blocks this year, but, we'll be okay. It's just one guy.
And then a few minutes before puck drop, it was made clear to the viewing public that not only would Braden McNabb be missing the game, but Shea Theodore would be a late scratch on the back end, being replaced by Braden Pahal, who will be making his playoff debut.
Well.
However, with those absences, there was also a return in the form of Will Carrier, who hasn't been playing for the last month or so, dealing with what looked to be a knee injury of some kind sustained in the regular season, and a really low-intensity play. He draws back into the lineup for the first time in what feels like forever. However, with him drawing back into the lineup, that means that somebody's going to have to come out of the lineup. Now, my initial reaction was that person in question would be Keegan Colasar, as he hasn't exactly had a stellar series. He's played good, and he's been good at rivaling the big body bulliness that is the Winnipeg Jets from time to time. But, he's probably first on my list to move. Oh, hold on, let me get that. Yeah? Wait, what do you mean, Phil Kessel? So for the first time since 2009, Phil Kessel will miss a game. Now, this doesn't end his streak because that only counts regular season games, hence why playoff stats and regular season stats are separate. But for perspective, this is the first time Phil Kessel won't be playing in a game since I was 8. So yeah, Carrier comes back in, and Phil Kessel gets to have all the hot dogs he wants up in the press box as the Golden Knights look to close out their series and become the first team in this playoff cycle to advance to the second round. And it did not take the Golden Knights very long to get off on the right foot. The Fortress and its medieval maniacs can be a little bit prone to, get a little restless when things don't exactly go the Golden Knights' way early on in the game. And clearly, with the fourth line starting, they made a good impression. Will Carrier's first shift since returning from injury, he looked good. And then about 23 seconds in, the line change happens and the big guns come out. And it doesn't take long as I'm just going to have you look at this with me and try and understand what's going on. So as you can see here, Mark Stone feeds Chandler Stevenson and Connor, what are you doing here? Your guess is as good as mine, but Chandler Stevenson's not going to miss one of those. And less than a minute into Game 5, the Golden Knights jump out to a 1-0 lead. And, they would continue to build off of this. Now, they get a power play about 7 minutes in, but they wouldn't really be able to capitalize on it. They'd continue to basically carry the game all the way through the first period, but not be able to continue to add into the score column, and ultimately would enter the first intermission, crazily enough, with the score of 1-0. And obviously everybody in the rink is pretty optimistic. Things are feeling pretty good, but it is just a 1-goal lead. The Golden Knights definitely had the lion's share of the opportunities in that first period, so it would have felt a lot better for both as a team, a coaching staff, as well as a fan base if the Golden Knights had taken a multi-goal lead out of that first period. But I digress, because there's still 40 minutes of game time left and a lot of time for things to go incredibly right or incredibly wrong. So the second period fires into life with the puck drop again, and the Golden Knights look like they're just on the ball immediately. Good first shift immediately to start the period, I believe by the fourth line again. And just like in the first period, the first line comes out in the first couple of seconds. gets the puck in the offensive zone, and I'm pretty sure Mark Stone may have, I don't know, while he was getting his back rehab for the 2 times in the last year, he may have been playing some pickup basketball with the Harlem Globetrotters with this one, because I don't understand how he got the puck from the boards, kicked it up, found it, put it down, and shot it shelf on Hellebuck. I just don't get it. So Mark Stone and his circus antics aside, it was an incredible start for the Golden Knights. 2 goals in the first minute of each period, with 1 in the first, 1 in the second, and now a 2-0 lead. And the Golden Knights wouldn't exactly look back from this point on, as just a few minutes later, William Karlsson and the second line, or his line, I'm not even sure what line they are at this point because everybody is playing like a first line player right now, get the puck kind of deep in the offensive zone. The puck would get moved around, high to low, low to high, around the rink, just like any competent offense would do when they get an offensive zone setup. And ultimately, William Karlsson would get lost on the back post behind Hellebuck and would receive a seam pass and would just tap it. Just tap it home. Just tap her in. Obviously putting the Golden Knights up 3-0, and then late in the second period, the Golden Knights would draw a power play, only their second one of the game. There's been a lot of offsetting minors to this point, and honestly, neither team had really done much with any of that. Let's be honest, 4-on-4 isn't a power play or a penalty kill. It just is. But Golden Knights would go to a power play, and it wouldn't take them very long as they get the exact situation that they want, win the face-off, get it back to Pietrangelo at the point. Pietrangelo feeds it down to Stone. Stone bumps it out to Stevenson, who one times it through the wickets on Connor Hellebuck, making the score 4-0. And with that, the second period comes to an abrupt, joyous, yet also concerning end. The Golden Knights have been the best team through the first 40 minutes, and it hasn't even been close. The best thing that happened, I believe it was in the second period, was just an absolutely bonkers save by Laurent Brossoit on a bit of a defensive breakdown where he made a good save and then kind of lost the rebound and then kind of went falling back into the frame and just reached out and snatched the puck from across the goal, or before it crossed the goal line. Ultimately, it was probably one of his best saves of the series, but he has just been exceptional. I mean, he's pitching a shutout to this point through 40 minutes, and while the Winnipeg Jets haven't exactly mustered a lot of opportunities, the majority of the chances they did muster were rather high dangerous and pretty high intensity. And so for him to be playing such good goaltending through this point of the game is kind of a big deal. And so we kind of have to address that before getting into the third period. And the third period in itself was relatively exciting. The Golden Knights came out with a lot of fire. They played smart. They played good defensive hockey. They essentially played perfect shutdown defense for basically 12 minutes, which is really saying something. And, with every bit of fan insecurity, when Connor Hellebuck left to go to the bench for the extra attacker with 8 minutes to go in regulation, I was simply sitting on my couch thinking,
they've got us right where they want us, don't they?
Yeah, to say this season that the VGK have been very good with the goalie out for the other team, or even in this playoffs, they've been very good with the goalie out, would just be a flat out lie. And so it really felt like the Jets had us right where they wanted. And it would come to fruition as they would score a goal. I believe it was Wheeler would kind of tap home a play kind of in front of the net with about 5 minutes to go in regulation. So about 3 minutes after they pulled Hellebuck initially. And it just kind of felt like things started to spiral out of control from there. The Jets had maintained excessive amounts of pressure. They wound up, when it was all said and done at the end of the game, recording like 16 shots on goal with the goalie out, which was just mind-boggling at the time because Brossoit played incredibly well despite allowing the 1 goal.
Wait a second, what do you mean 1 goal? I'm pretty sure Brossoit gave up 2.
While Brossoit did only give up 1 goal against that showed on the score sheet, he actually practically gave up 2, as the Winnipeg Jets did, for a very brief moment with about 2.5 minutes to go in the game, get the score to 4-2. However, on the prior face-off with about 3 minutes, about 45 seconds before the goal went in, and this kind of pushes the spirit of the review rule to its very limit, and I know it benefited me, but I'm still going to comment on it. The fact that, on the face-off, the Jets center decided to start playing flag football a couple of minutes early and snap it between his legs to a defenseman. Yes, that is a missed game stoppage, and that is exactly what this rule was there to create. And did it have any noticeable effect on the play? Probably, but bear with me, what if it didn't? What if it didn't have any effect on the play? I mean, it benefited us in this situation as a fan base and as a team, but I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. You don't get that lucky, and, get away with it. That's highway robbery if it happens more than once in the series. And that was the first time it had happened in the series, so I'm not going to complain yet, but I'm just being mindful of it. But as the clock continued to wind down, especially after that goal was disallowed, you could kind of feel that it had let the air out of the balloon that was the Winnipeg Jets season. And now the VGK started doing the one thing that is totally fine during the regular season and totally fine when you're leading by 3 goals. But in a closeout game in the playoffs, I kind of worry about it. They started looking for Chandler Stevenson to give him his first career hat trick. And, he was already on his first career playoff game with multiple goals. So get him his first hat trick in a closeout game, that'd be an incredible story. But in that, they started making some dumber decisions. And while they never wound up in the back of the Golden Knights net, it was just one of those things to be mindful of going forward. But ultimately, the horn would sound, about 37 victory flamingos would fly onto the ice, Elvis would start singing, and the Golden Knights would win and advance to the second round. Now, the big fireworks really in this game was after the game when the Jets coach Rick Bowness basically said, yeah, my team wasn't good enough. Our best players weren't our best players. Their better players were better than ours. And that's not really something you say when your season just ended. Usually it's I feel for the guys. I feel horrible for, the situation. They played hard. No, he woke up this morning and chose violence. And as a fan, it totally explains why they didn't have any fight left in this Game 5. And it wouldn't surprise me if, as an organization, they wind up blowing it up over this offseason, especially with so many players on expiring deals. And I'm pretty sure Hellebuck wants to win a series since now the Jets have lost 8 of their last 9 playoff games. That's not good. And on the topic of the second round, the real question is, who are the Golden Knights going to play? Now, the Winnipeg Jets, no offense to them, they are a very good team with a very good goalie, but they were the 8th seed in this Western Conference bracket for a reason. And now that the Golden Knights have punched their ticket to the second round, there's a runway with only 2 possible opponents, one of them looking a little bit more likely than the other, with Game 6 between the Oilers and LA Kings tonight, with the Oilers, I believe, with a 3-2 series lead. It's looking like you could have a really interesting series that could go down if it goes the way it's supposed to between the Oilers and the Golden Knights in the second round. Now, there's nothing to say that the LA Kings, whose MO this entire season has been hang around, make your opponent make the mistake. It could be just one of those series where the Oilers just overmatch the Kings and find a way to basically brute force their way into the second round. That's been an ugly series with a lot of dialogue and a lot of storylines around it, whether it be the report about McDavid's leg being hurt or the fact that there was a high stick in one of the games, and I'm not even going to touch that controversy on this channel, at least not yet. But there's so much that could happen between now and when the puck drops for Game 1 of the second round that I'm not even going to try and hypothesize who the Golden Knights are going to play. All I know is that no matter who they play, whether it be the Oilers or the Kings, it will be portrayed that we're the underdog because, the Kings are such a good team and they kind of had our number all regular season. And the Connor McDavid Edmonton Oilers with Draisaitl and Kane and Hyman and Nugent Hopkins, and the list goes on and on and on and on. That's a very talented team. And so I doubt that the next series, regardless of opponent, is going to feel as comfortable as this one did. And this series felt uncomfortable after Game 1. Don't even get me started. If you want to see how uncomfortable I was, go back and watch my first video. Holy moly, I was upset. And with the end of that first round series, also puts a bow on the runtime of AT&T Sportsnet as the broadcasting partner of the Vegas Golden Knights. I really hope, as a fan, that there's some arrangement that's able to become to that allows not only the games to be broadcast, but also allows us to keep our commentary crew, Shane Knighty, Dave Gosher, Darren Millard, Darren Elliott, Derek Anglin. I love watching those guys on TV. And I would be just absolutely heartbroken if they're not back to broadcast Golden Knights games next year. So I'm just putting that out in the universe. I know me, a humble YouTuber with 20 subscribers, doesn't get to decide the machinations of the broadcasting rights of a major sports team. But I'm just saying, as a fan and maybe the vocal mouthpiece for every other fan, please, for the love of all that is good and holy, keep Dave and Shane and everybody, keep them broadcasting our games. We love them, and the game watching experience wouldn't be the same without them. But with that said, I think that's all I have to say about this. It's off to the second round. It's going to be really, really exciting, and I cannot wait for this chase to the Stanley Cup to continue. We're a quarter of the way there. and everything is feeling great. Go Kings, or go Oilers, or I don't know. Go interesting series for the rest of this first round. And as always, thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys letting me take up some of your time to talk about this, weird obsession I have with the Golden Knights. Comment down below if you've got something that you want to say. Subscribe if you really enjoy it. Tell all your friends. We are a united realm. If I'm going to go with the press release, we shall continue to unite the realm in the second round.